Digital Book presents another video on the very important topic of crystal structure. Let's start with introduction of crystal structure. Based on the atomic arrangement in a substance, solids can be broadly classified as either crystalline or non-crystalline. In a crystalline solid, all the atoms are arranged in a periodic manner in all three dimensions. Whereas in a non-crystalline solid, the atomic arrangement is random, or non-periodic in nature. A crystalline solid can either be a single crystalline, or a polycrystalline. In the case of single crystal, the entire solid consists of only one crystal and hence, periodic arrangement of atoms continues throughout the entire material. A polycrystalline material is an aggregate of many small crystals, separated by well-defined grain boundaries, and hence periodic arrangement of atoms is limited to small regions of the material called as grain boundaries. Let's take a look in the definition of crystal structure. A crystal structure is a unique arrangement of atoms in a crystal. A crystal structure is composed of a unit cell, a set of atoms, arranged in a particular way, which is periodically repeated in three dimensions on a lattice. The crystal structure of a material is often discussed in terms of its unit cell. The unit cell is a spatial arrangement of atoms, which is tiled in three-dimensional space to describe the crystal. For each crystal structure there is a conventional unit cell, which is the smallest unit that has the full symmetry of the crystal. However, the conventional unit cell is not always the smallest possible choice. A primitive unit cell of a particular crystal structure is the smallest possible unit cell one can construct such that, when tiled it completely fills space. There are three main types of crystal structure, which are as follows. First, primitive or simple centered cubic crystal structure, second, body centered cubic structure, and third is face centered cubic structure. First, if we talking about the simple cubic structure, the unit cell formed by primitives is called a simple, or a primitive unit cell. A primitive unit cell contains only one lattice point. In its every corner of a cube, it has one atom, and like this its crystal are taken the shape of a cube. The next is face-centered cubic crystal structure. Atoms are located at each of the corners and on the centers of all the faces of cubic unit cell. For example, copper, aluminium, argon have this type of crystal structure. And the third one is body center cubic structure. All the atoms are arranged at every corners of the cube and also attached with another atom at the cube center. The atoms are closely packed within the plane and it cuts diagonally half of the every unit cell within the cube. All the atoms are located in one unit cell. Let's recall once the highlights what we have studied in this video. We have studied on introduction of crystal structure, crystalline solids, non-crystalline solids, definition of crystal structure, single crystalline solids, polycrystalline solids, unit cell, primitive and simple cubic center structures, face-centered cubic structure, and body-centered cubic structure. Please don't forget to watch our next video on the topic of the classification of crystal structure. Please subscribe the channel for this type of learning video series and also press the bell icon to get notifications for our latest videos. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, subscribe,